I'm Dr. Jim Paharic, the Director of the National Catholic Center for Holocaust Education at Seton Hill University. And I'm here today to honor Dr. Eva Fleischner, outstanding scholar of the Holocaust and longtime friend of our center. I remember Dr. Fleischner coming to our conferences regularly over the years. She was also a longtime member of our advisory board from nearly the beginning of our center's founding. And in addition to that, Eva was the recipient of our highest award at the center. It's called the Nostra Aetate Award, that recognizes the contributions of scholars to deepening understanding between Jews and Christians. In addition to that, Eva, along with her family, and especially her brother Hans and his wife Leslie, have endowed a scholarship that enables us to present an annual lecture series, whereby we bring in outstanding scholars of the Holocaust to talk about the topics that were close to Eva's heart. So we're very grateful for their continued involvement in our work. And now I would like to introduce Sister Gemma Del Duca, who is co-founder of our center and was a close friend for many years of Eva. She will put Eva's contributions into perspective. And I appreciate your being with us for this program. Thank you very much.
My name is Sister Gemma Del Duca. I'm a Sister of Charity and co-founder of the National Catholic Center for Holocaust Education at Seton Hill University in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I would like to share some remembrances of Dr. Eva Fleischner, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to do that with you, because she was such a special person. Eva Fleischner had a relationship with us at Seton Hill University and with our Holocaust Center. And in her acceptance speech, when we gave her the Nostra Aetate Award, she identified us as women who were trying, as she put it, through our vision and commitment to make a difference in the ways Jews and Catholics relate to each other. And this was what she was trying to do also, and so we bonded with each other. Even before Nostra Aetate in 1965, our friend Eva Fleischner had become interested and concerned about Jewish-Catholic dialogue. And it was in this context that she met our spiritual director and teacher in Israel, Benedictine Father Isaac Jacob, in Cincinnati. So I first learned about this deeply committed woman and scholar from him in relation to our work in Israel and at Tel Gamaliel, even before we began the work of the National Catholic Center for Holocaust Education. So once we began our work in 1987 here at Seton Hill, we wanted to have her with us as a member of our advisory board. And also through that, we wanted her to be our colleague. And of course, she became our friend and even a sister to us. From the promulgation of Nostra Aetate in 1965 to the year 2001, we could say that each of those decades was marked with the documents. So the guidelines of 75 encouraged people to bear witness to their faith and to their commitment to Jewish-Christian relations in the fields of exegesis, theology, history, sociology. And Dr. Eva Fleischner's work reflects her response and her dedication at this time. So the years between 1972 and 1991 were years of intense teaching activity, especially at Montclair State College in New Jersey, where she taught courses on the Holocaust. But she was also responsible for the organizing of the first international symposium on the Holocaust held in the United States in 1974 at the Episcopal Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. And it was she who edited the papers, and they were published in 1976 in the groundbreaking volume still recognized today as a classic in Holocaust studies, the title of which was Auschwitz, Beginning of a New Era, ? With emphasis on the question mark. Her special research during her teaching years on French rescuers took her to Yad Vashem in Israel and to France. And that research was published in 1997 as Cries in the Night, Women Who Challenged the Holocaust. Written in collaboration with Michael Fayer, the book is a study of 7 Catholic women who rescued Jews during the Holocaust. It was in 1997 also, at our Holocaust Scholars Conference, that we awarded Dr. Eva Fleischner the Nostra Aetate Award. In her acceptance speech, she spoke of the challenges and dangers in teaching the Holocaust. In answer to friends and colleagues who had asked her why she continued to teach the Holocaust, such a difficult subject, her response was, "No other course forces us, me and my students, to the same extent to confront the depths to which the human spirit can sink, and also, here and there, the heights to which it can rise." And these words are so like Eva Fleischner. Shortly after this event in 1999, Australian Cardinal Edward Cassidy appointed her to that 6-member International Catholic Jewish Historical Commission with the very challenging mandate of assessing 11 volumes of documentation and a review of the Vatican archival material from 1939 to 1945. While their concluding counsel, openness is the best policy for a mature and balanced historical assessment, was taken reluctantly, 20 years later, there was a response, a concrete response, with the opening of the archives in March of 2020. I recall at the time when the response was given in 1999 that there was great disappointment for Eva and for the committee members. Still, the archives was opened in Eva's last year of life. At the end of that acceptance speech that I mentioned for the Nostra Aetate Award, she speaks of Vatican II and its declaration. And she says, Nostra Aetate, in honor of which the award you're giving me is named, that declaration is considered rightly the Magna Carta of the new era in Catholic-Jewish relations, of which we are all a part. The greatness of Nostra Aetate lies, and these are Eva's words, I believe, as much in what it has made possible as in what it has said in its few terse Latin sentences. It marks a radical departure in the Church's approach to Judaism and has given the green light to further theological, pastoral, and catechetical work to which many of us here and elsewhere are committed. That document changed for the better in the past 30 years what in the previous 1900 were not able to do. We can certainly say that the work of Dr. Eva Fleischner, who took up that challenge of Nostra Aetate with such great love, did more to change for the better in the last 50 years than in the previous centuries. I'd like to conclude this reflection in the way that she concluded her talk by referring to the meeting of John Paul II with the chief rabbi of Rome, Elio Toaf. I want only to change the words around so that they apply to Eva. And just as John Paul was so delighted with his visit with the rabbi, so are we so delighted to have had as our colleague, friend, and sister, Dr. Eva Fleischner. And all that remains for me now is to turn my heart and mind to the Lord and to thank and praise him for this wonderful woman, this wonderful scholar, and for new and profound understanding that exists now between the church and Judaism. And so I would like to say with the psalmist, in the original language of the psalmist, a prayer to thank the Lord for Eva and for her work in the church and in our lives. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki leolam hasto. Thanks be to God, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Thank you, our friend, colleague, and sister, Eva Fleischner.